Within 48 hours of us placing a trained sales rep in one of our clients' businesses, they had a deal that closed for $36,000 cash collected. Over the next 30 days, that same rep booked 111 meetings on the calendar. This was all without increasing their ad spend, following up on old, uninterested, unqualified leads, and without spending countless hours managing that sales rep. So if you're interested in understanding better the step-by-step process in which we went about helping this client book 111 meetings on the calendar, keep watching.
Awesome. So this is the actual step-by-step breakdown of exactly how we did this for one of our clients. So we helped them. They're a high-ticket business. They're in the PR space. The rep that we placed with them, she booked 111 meetings in her first 30 days, and she had $36,000 of cash collected within 48 hours of her signing her agreement with the client. So this is before they worked with us, right? Past state. So essentially this business was spending around $5,000 to $8,000 every single month on ads across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. Their monthly revenue was around $50,000 to $75,000. They had a sales team of 2 reps before we got in there and helped them out. They had some basic level sales systems. They used Go High Level and the Go High Level dialer. They had people calling out of Google Sheets, a lot of disparate data in their systems. So their CRM was also the Wild West. A lead would come in through an ad. They weren't properly tagged. Reps weren't notified when a lead came into the pipeline in the CRM. There was no clean and concise way of filtering leads by how good of quality they were. So they had a couple of questions on their intake form, essentially, how much money they made, what are their social media channels, what are they doing for content, what is their offer, ticket price, things along those lines. Now, they weren't really using that data to make data-driven decisions, to route leads to the best performing reps, or being able to disqualify leads so they won't go directly on the calendar, right? Also, the founder was very heavily invested in the closing and the setting process and was super hands-on, micromanaging, and was unable to truly scale the business because he kept going back into the business. Now, this screenshot here is a screenshot of one of their trackers. Essentially what this goes through, and these are the main KPIs that we track. We also provide this sheet to you whenever you get one of our placement reps. Essentially, it's going to break down how many total dials that rep made. So the overall volume on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. They did 130 connects. So what a connect is when someone picks up that phone, right? Positive or negative, they pick it up, it's a live human being. So they had a 13% connection percentage. Of those 130 pickups, they got into the pitch 92 times. Really good rate, right? But from there, they only booked about half of those conversations onto the calendar. Now let's fast forward to future state, or where they're at right now after working with us, using one of our reps, helping out with the systems. So they're still spending the same amount of money. This is a very key point in this slide, is that they did not have to increase their ad spend. They can, and they probably will, but they don't have to increase ad spend to get more juice out of the squeeze. So they actually doubled their revenue. They're around $150,000 to $200,000 a month on any given month. The sales team grew by 3. We placed 3 reps with this client. We implemented lead scoring. So that data that I was just talking to you about, what is their monthly revenue, what are their social media channels? There's now a defined process, and we score these leads on a 1 to 5 rubric, 5 being the best, 1 being a disqualification. From there, we cleaned and updated their CRM. We tagged leads with the rubric system, so every lead would come in. There was a person, a VA, that was in charge of going through the social medias. There was a direct disqualification if they had, below a threshold on a monthly revenue scale. They just weren't a fit for that client. So essentially the SDRs, the cold callers, appointment setters, we're only calling 3 out of 5s, 4 out of 5s, and 5 out of 5s now. So the actual volume is now being directed to higher leverage leads, which is going to parlay into more cash collected, higher close rates, happier closers, and better quality clients for our client. From there, we also created automations. So whenever a lead opted their information into a form. There was an automation into Slack, a shared channel with all of the appointment setters saying, hey, this lead just opted in, this is their information, their email, their phone number. And essentially we created what we call as a speed to lead process. So within 5 to 15 minutes, 7 days a week, our setters are in that channel calling every single lead at the moment where they're most excited about your product or your service. So we're capitalizing on you being on the forefront of their brains. We also help with the sales process and system. So understanding like what is an initial call. If a lead is a 3 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5 and they book direct onto the calendar, our appointment setters will have what we call as a triage call. They'll actually talk to that prospect before it gets to a closer and make sure that the person who booked time is actually worthy of that calendar space for your sales team. This whole process and the understanding and the sales trained talent that we provided increased their return on ad spend. So they did not have to increase their ad spend. They essentially were getting more return on the same amount of ad spend by adding in our highly trained commission-only rep, systems and processes, and a lead scoring system. This also helped the founder get out of the trenches. And essentially what you can see here is an updated tracker, about the same amount of volume, a higher connect percentage, a same amount of connect to convo. So nothing truly changed there. The quality of the leads got better. As you can see, it came down to sales talent. So we went from booking 54 meetings on around the same volume of calls to 111. This is the rep that we placed. She booked a meeting on the calendar every 9 dials. She booked 85% of every single person that she spoke with onto the calendar to increase that return on ad spend, increase cash collected, and essentially doubling the business size. So that's exactly how we did it. So we injected our own trained sales reps that went through our sales coaching program, the SDR Whisperer that I spoke about earlier in the video. We aligned the compensation to incentivize the sales team. So the reps were only paid on closed deals. We changed that to compensating them on booked calls as well as closed deals, so they had more ownership of what they were truly responsible for. We created lead routing based on the data that we were receiving from the inbound opt-in leads. We created automations inside of their Slack channel. Every time a lead booked, opted in, and no-showed, we would have a system and process to get that person back on the calendar and or get more people on the calendar. We also helped rewrite their call scripts. We created SOPs to go after old pipeline and no-show leads, so nothing slipped through the cracks. We automated some CRM manual things that the team was wasting time on, essentially doing bookkeeping and housekeeping inside of the CRM, spent around 1 to 2 hours per day per rep. We came in and helped automate some little nuanced processes like updating pipelines, adding tags, adding notes, and then we essentially optimized everything for sales efficiency. So the reps were only focused on high leverage tasks that was gonna put more meetings on the calendar and put more cash in the Stripe account for business owners such as yourself. So that sounded great, but obviously that's only one situation. So here's a little bit of case studies, testimonials, screenshots of how we've helped other clients. We've actually placed 350 trained sales reps over the past 12 months. Right here we have Jacob. He worked with our team. We overhauled the sales process within 2 weeks. Our SDR, this was doing cold calls, so a little bit different. The last case study was inbound. This is going to be absolutely outbound. No one opted in. No one knows this product or service. Our reps reached out to somebody who has no idea what Jacob did or his company, coerced him, understood him, pain points, booked him on the calendar, and generated over $150,000 of revenue within 14 days. Biggest part of this screenshot, though, was that he didn't need to be onboarded and trained. Everything was handled by our team. Mattis, one of our clients, love Mattis, great guy, awesome company. He runs a high-ticket e-commerce brand. He came through us through a Twitter ad. He probably watched one of these videos that I'm making right now. And what we were able to do is, again, inbound leads. We booked 97 in the first 30 days, generating over 6 figures of top-line revenue for their company. We had Joey here with the Default Kings. We met through Twitter. Great guy, great business model, helping a lot of people. Was super excited to get him a trained sales rep. We booked 10 qualified calls within 4 days business for him with no additional training. All they had to do was give him a little bit of understanding about the offer. Jackson here booked a very high qualified call on the first day, right? So you're kind of seeing a thread here. The guys that we place inside businesses hit the ground running and give you a return on your investment from day one. There's not a 90-day ramp period. You're not hand-holding, babysitting, micromanaging our reps. Again, JP, right, booked 3 in 1 day. We have Antoine here. You can watch this video on the link. I'm not gonna bore you. Essentially, we've placed over 10 reps with Antoine's 3 companies. One of our reps actually turned into a sales manager within a month. We have Nate with Numa Media. We gave him a rep. He was able to get out of the appointment setting side of the business. This is their head closer, head of sales. What he was doing was full cycle sales, so he wasn't able to fully focus on top of funnel or bottom of funnel. He had to do both. We gave him a rep. He booked meetings. Nate does what he does best, and he closes deals. We have Daniel, the cold email wizard. Within the first week, we had a rep book a call, absolutely cold through the DMs on Twitter, who piffed for $14,000. Now, very important here, these are clients. These are someone in your shoes. Awesome to see. But what I think is equally as important is the actual product, which is the trained US-based sales reps that we provide for business owners just like you. So these are testimonials from our community of reps that we've placed with clients so you can see the other side of the coin. Right? So here's Michael. He got his first set in his new role on his 7th call. He made 7 total calls. He's already booking leads, and these are old leads, not even new leads. We have Scott. So he just celebrated his 1-year work anniversary with a client of ours, and essentially what happened was he closed $500,000 in total rev, and half of that revenue came within the last 90 days since he started our training. So this client had this rep, they put it through a program, and he literally did half of his revenue in a third of the time. Here's Gulsher. Within 2 weeks, he made his investment into our program, which is $1,000, so he made a $6,000 commission. He closed a 6-figure 12-month PIF off of a cold email from an unresponsed, ignored lead. So what Gulsher was able to do was think strategically, go into the old pipeline, message people, get them back on the calendar, making a return on your already ad spend, and put that money inside of their Stripe account. Michael here booked 8 calls. He's number 1 on the leaderboard for that team, and he's outpacing BDRs, SDRs, appointment setters that have already been inside of the company. So he's coming in and he's disrupting that sales team. Grant here, he's booking a cold call every 37 calls. And Larissa, she booked 7 meetings in 1 singular day. So if you're watching this video and you need help putting more qualified leads on the calendar without you having to roll up your sleeves and do it, you're the business owner. You should be focused on high leverage tasks. Trust us to place a fully trained US-based performance-based sales rep inside of your business who's going to call anyone that's ever been interested in your product or service and reach out to cold prospects that have never even heard about you to be able to see that ROI. So if this sounds appeasing to you or you just want to hear more, book a call directly with myself and our team by clicking the button below, and I'm very excited to speak with you.